Before Emily's birthday, she sent me a message.
Knowing our Michael has been busy lately, remember to make up for my birthday gift later.
After receiving it, I decided to surprise her by returning home. I had already contacted the bar mentioned in the group chat. After proving that I just wanted to surprise my girlfriend, I successfully disguised myself as a private room waiter. I planned to appear and surprise her when she closed her eyes to blow out the candles.
This is going to be great!
Wearing a mask and a hat, I shrank in the corner of the private room, secretly looking up. Since our last hurried farewell, I hadn't seen Emily for 3 months. Every time I had some free time at night and wanted to video call her, Emily would make excuses like it was too late, she wasn't dressed, or she was too tired from work and wanted to rest with her eyes closed.
It had been a long time since I last saw her. Seeing her today, although she looked the same as before, I felt that she had somehow changed.
I comforted myself, trying to dispel the unease in my heart. The door opened, and a very handsome young man walked in.
I wonder whose boyfriend he is. Some girl is really lucky.
I muttered to myself, closing the door. When I turned around, I saw Emily holding a glass of wine in one hand and skillfully pulling the young man's hand with the other, making him sit beside her. Then she put her arm around him.
The air conditioning must have been set too low.
The young man rubbed his arms, feeling cold. Emily noticed and took off her coat, draping it over him, and continued to hold him.
Emily really knows how to take care of people. We sisters can't compare.
The young man beside Emily smiled shyly and lowered his head.
Stop joking. Can't you see he's shy and blushing, lowering his head so you can't even see his face?
Well, why doesn't Emily give him a kiss to make him show his face?
The teasing voices rose and fell. Amidst the teasing, I saw a moment of tranquility in the chaos, in the way she looked at him.
Light the candles, light the candles. Kiss him when you make a wish. Hey, you, the waiter, yes, you, light the candles.
The voice urging the idea was drowned out by the teasing, but I heard it. Lighting the candles and kissing while making a wish, a bit romantic. I lit the candles, and the cake was perfectly placed between Emily and me. The candlelight flickered, dancing before my eyes. I saw Emily moving closer to the young man like a predator, while he shrank back, but her hand held him tightly. He struggled for a moment, then stopped, staying still, closing his eyes as if waiting for something. I saw Emily kiss him.
It wasn't a light peck or a brief touch. It was a passionate kiss I had never seen before.
The applause around was thunderous, the cheers exceptionally loud, like a grand celebration. It seemed like Emily's birthday party was meant to be like this.
Everyone, calm down. It took a lot to get him to lift his head. Don't make him shy again. I've told you, he's quite bashful.
The crowd, while teasing that Miss Emily was truly considerate, gradually quieted down. Sitting in the corner of the private room, Olivia, who had been silent all along, suddenly let out a sneer, drawing everyone's attention to her.
I heard Miss Emily has a boyfriend in the States. You went on a business trip 3 months ago just to see him. Does your boyfriend know you're doing this?
After saying this, she seemed to remember something and added slowly.
I just heard it, though.
Her tone sounded like a casual question, not too serious, but it instantly cooled the atmosphere. I stared at her in shock, not expecting Emily's supposedly wild friend to have such a strong moral compass. The people around sensed the tension and tried to smooth things over.
What boyfriend? Just a younger brother my family asked me to look after. My boyfriend is, of course, our Ethan. He's not easy to win over. I heard Miss Olivia liked him before. Of course, I just heard it.
You're being jealous for no reason. Olivia and I are just friends. Olivia values herself too much to have any boys around her. Unlike you.
Oh, just a joke, and you're already jealous. I'm behaving myself now, you can ask them. Besides, even if I'm bad, you still like me, don't you?
Emily said, tapping Ethan's head, her gestures indescribably intimate.
Who knows? Maybe your sweet words just won me over.
Ethan said, resting his chin affectionately on Emily's shoulder. From a distance, Olivia suddenly picked up her glass and took a big gulp of wine. It was quite a show. It would have been more enjoyable if I had nothing to do with it. A round of ambiguous laughter rose around us.
Miss Emily, aren't you going to coax him? Kiss him again.
The teasing grew louder, and Emily, as if to assert her claim, leaned in and kissed Ethan deeply. Thanks to her strong display of possession, I had plenty of time. I took out my phone, opened the camera, and started recording.
Who turned on the flash? Are you out of your mind?
Her friends, who followed her lead, approached me, muttering unpleasant things. One of them moved particularly fast, reaching to grab my phone. I slapped her hand away with a loud smack. The air grew so still it seemed everyone held their breath, realizing something was wrong. Keep kissing, I'm recording. Not enough kisses, how rude. I waved my phone and said these two sentences with a smile.
Oh, by the way, I just got back from the States and haven't met your husband yet. Aren't you going to introduce us?
I turned my head, comfortably accepting the introduction as her brother, and asked Emily with a smile.
Wow. So this is our little brother. He's really handsome. Emily, you never mentioned having such a good-looking brother. Keeping it in the family. Huh? Not fair.
Shut up. This isn't something you should joke about.
Everyone finally sensed something was wrong. Ethan slowly got up from Emily's side, and Olivia looked at me, a glimmer of light in her eyes.
Aren't you supposed to be back in 6 months? Why are you here early without telling me? I could have sent someone to pick you up.
Emily took a drag from her cigarette, exhaling smoke, trying to appear calm. But her faster speech betrayed a hint of unease. I put away my phone, walked to the table, picked up an empty glass, and poured myself a drink. Holding the glass, I looked at Emily's tense muscles and suddenly laughed. It was so funny that tears came to my eyes.
How could I disturb you, sister? I was just worried you might be alone on your birthday. Who knew you had such a charming companion? But you should have told me about your husband earlier, so I could have prepared a gift.
I smiled at Emily, a smile that didn't reach my eyes, and downed the drink in one gulp. Then I turned to Ethan and said,
So this is your husband? He's really good looking. Lucky you, sister. Let's go shopping sometime, and I'll buy him a gift as a thank you for taking care of you.
No one responded. How boring.
You're not well, you shouldn't be drinking. This isn't the place for you. Go home, I'll have someone take you.
Emily tried to take the glass from my hand, but I didn't let go.
Oh, sister, let go. If your husband misunderstands, it'll be my fault.
I pried Emily's fingers off one by one, then rubbed the spot she had grabbed, as if to rid myself of bad luck. I looked up, showing a polite smile.
Sorry I didn't bring gifts for everyone today. The expenses for tonight are on me. Next time, I'll make it up to you all properly.
I turned and left. As the door to the private room closed, I heard Emily's voice.
Our little brother is spoiled, don't mind him. Let's continue.
The sound of clinking glasses resumed, as if I were just a minor interruption. My fingers dug into my palm, my heart aching slightly. Our little brother is spoiled, don't mind him. Let's continue. Little brother? In a daze, I recalled some past events. When I was 12, Emily's family moved nearby. They had come to H country to escape some trouble. I didn't know the details, but it was likely a power struggle. Emily's father tragically died in a car accident, and her grandfather sent her and her mother, Grace, to M country for safety. Emily was grieving and uneasy in the new environment.
Emily, we need to stay strong. Life can be unpredictable.
Despite receiving a substantial amount of money from her father-in-law, Grace chose to revive her professional skills and applied for a job at a major company in H country. As a married woman with a child, she had to work hard to prove herself. During this time, Emily was often neglected. I noticed this lonely girl living next door, who reminded me of myself when I first moved to H country, lonely, isolated, and aloof.
Seeing her was like seeing my past self. I wanted to help her.
I started finding ways to talk to her. After a year of effort, I managed to exchange a few words with her and enrolled in the same school. I discovered she had no friends and faced bullying due to her aloofness.
It's not right for them to treat her like this.
One day, I found her being cornered in the supply room by bullies. She instinctively covered her head with her hands.
Hey! Leave her alone!
With the help of senior students who were showing me around, we quickly dispersed the troublemakers. I helped Emily up, but she brushed off my hand, embarrassed.
Thank you.
I often checked on her after that. Thanks to the deterrence of the senior students, the bullies eventually stopped targeting her. Emily began to showcase her talents and won several awards. 3 years passed, and Emily's mother had more time to spend with her. Emily emerged from that dark period and wasn't as aloof anymore.
Michael, can we talk?
Sure, Emily.
She confessed her feelings and began a 3-year pursuit. During that time, I realized I had developed feelings for her too. Just as I began dreaming of a future together, her grandfather called them back to see country. He had secured his power and offered Grace a share of the company, naming Emily as the heir. Grace invited my grandfather and me to dinner before leaving.
Michael, thank you for being there for Emily. Here, take this jade pendant.
It was a family heirloom for sons-in-law. That night, Emily kissed me under the bright moonlight.
Michael, wait for me. I promise to return and marry you.
I will, Emily.
And now she says I'm just her brother?
I need to calm down.
I leaned against the car, trying to control my emotions. A message from Emily came through.
Don't overthink it. I'll explain when I get back.
I deleted the message and blocked her contact. Suddenly, my phone beeped with a new message.
Hello, I'm Olivia. I'd like to discuss a business deal with you.
I composed myself and added Olivia's contact information. We arranged a time and planned to meet. Olivia and I met at a private restaurant.
I had heard countless times from Emily that Olivia was quite the flirt, not very serious. But today, she was dressed particularly formally.
Would you like some tea or wine?
She poured me a cup of tea and a glass of wine, asked about my dietary restrictions, and then dismissed the waiter. I enjoyed the pot of tea with ease. It was my usual bamboo leaf green tea, well researched.
If my information were public, I would be quite pleased. But in reality, there were some people in the company who needed to be dealt with. I lost my appetite for a moment, put down the tea, leaned back in my chair, and looked at her without saying a word.
We stared at each other for a while, and eventually, Olivia relaxed first, reverting to the carefree demeanor Emily had described.
It seems Emily didn't do a good job. What a little brother after all he's been through the grind. I admire you.
Miss Olivia, you're joking. I'm just an ordinary worker. I don't understand what you mean.
I adjusted my already neat blue tie. Then I remembered that Emily loved blue and abruptly stopped my actions, planning to change to a bright red tie after dinner.
Mr. Michael, don't joke around. Wasn't it you who secured the A family's order recently? Truly, appearances can be deceiving.
My casual attitude vanished instantly, and I looked at Olivia intently for a split second. I quickly returned to my usual self, pretending to know nothing.
Oh, Miss Olivia, don't let your information be wrong. I know nothing about these things. I'm just a simple guy who likes playing games, just like you enjoy drinking and clubbing. Let's not spread rumors.
Olivia's nonchalant expression froze for a moment, her left hand tapping lightly on the table. After a while, she suddenly laughed, her eyes twinkling like a fox's.
Emily really doesn't know a gem when she sees one. Overseas Market Department's Lou.
Miss Olivia, you should manage your suburban bar better. Not everyone is as kind-hearted as I am, checking the pastries while drinking. By the way, that matcha cake was quite good. Could you send me one later?
Olivia took out a cigarette, and after seeing my indifferent expression, took a deep drag, exhaling a smoke ring, her eyes seemingly lost in thought. Suddenly, she placed the teacup on the table with a smile.
Mr. Michael, you've done me a great favor. One cake isn't enough, I'll send several.
Likewise.
Olivia looked at me with an unreadable expression and said in a measured tone.
I thought Mr. Michael was lost in love, turns out I was mistaken. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
I smiled, raised my glass, clinked it politely, and downed the wine in one gulp. Actually, it wasn't entirely mistaken. Until yesterday, I was. Being pricked, I was naturally displeased. While Olivia was eating sashimi with wasabi, I casually remarked.
I heard Miss Olivia had been silently waiting for a boy for quite a while. Seems like the rumors were wrong.
Olivia's fork paused before reaching her mouth. She put it down, picked up her wineglass, took a sip, and said,
People make mistakes sometimes. Just like Mr. Michael, didn't you give up your game? To err is human.
Miss Olivia, you're magnanimous. Cheers to you.
The party continued, but a thorn remained in my heart, a sign of youthful impulsiveness. I could no longer pretend to be calm and composed.
What kind of business are you talking about, Olivia?
If I've upset you, Michael, it's my fault. I deserve to be punished. Let me apologize with this drink.
Olivia stood up and downed a glass of wine in one go. I watched her drink without pausing, then she returned to her usual tone.
You're too kind, Michael. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. Let me drink another glass.
After dessert was served, Olivia and I resumed our public personas. Once the waiter left, Olivia watched me eat the cake, forkful by forkful.
Michael, are you interested in collaborating to acquire that piece of land in the west of the city?
I put down my fork, took a napkin, and wiped my mouth before responding.
Olivia, how do you propose we collaborate?
The land in the west, you get 40%, I get 60%. Future profits are split 50-50, but I want to participate in the A family's project. I'll take 30%, and future profits will be 60-40 in my favor.
The land in the west, your offer is indeed tempting. But for the A family's project, 60-40 with only 30% profit, Olivia, you can't take advantage of me just because I recently arrived in H country.
Michael, you know that the land in the west is truly valuable. A 40-60 split is a great deal.
Everyone knows that. But the land in the west will take at least 3 years to yield returns. I can earn that back elsewhere in the meantime.
But isn't time exactly what you're lacking right now?
My face hardened. It seemed the company needed a thorough cleanup.
I heard the Smith family recently welcomed a young heir who acquired 5% of the shares. I also heard that in 7 months, during the board re-election, you still need 4% to become the largest shareholder.
I took a bite of the cake, smiling without saying a word.
All right, I surrender. I need to acquire 4% of the shares to become the largest shareholder.
Olivia raised her hands in resignation.
Now that's straightforward. I can help you buy back the 4% shares, but you can't touch the A family's project. The land in the west remains as it is, 40-60 split, and future profits are 50-50. How does that sound, Olivia? Michael, that's a bit too greedy. I need 5% of the profits. That's my bottom line, or we leave it at that.
Seeing her determination, I couldn't help but sit up straight as well.
Are you sure you can secure the land in the West?
Absolutely.
Then, a pleasant collaboration.
A pleasant collaboration.
Olivia insisted on driving me home herself, a gesture of goodwill as a partner. I raised an eyebrow and got into the passenger seat. The drive was silent. When we reached my place, I unbuckled my seatbelt and made a move to open the door. Then I paused, sat back, and asked,
If I'm not mistaken, the initial collaboration you wanted to discuss wasn't this one.
Olivia relaxed her grip on the steering wheel.
You're right. Initially, I thought about an alliance to help you win back Emily and take over the land in the west of the city. But after reviewing the information, I decided to have a backup plan. It's a good thing I did, or else Michael might have kicked me out of the room as soon as I opened my mouth.
Good thing you didn't say it. If you had, I wouldn't have kicked you out, I would have left myself.
I paused, then continued.
At first, I thought the collaboration you mentioned was about you helping me win back Emily, and I would help you get Ethan back. I agreed to come because you seemed out of place with them, and I wanted to see if there was a normal person among them. If I lost the bet, it would just be a joke if I won. Well, Olivia, you managed to take control from your father in just 2 years, and now you're only constrained by your grandfather. So, no loss.
Olivia seemed to choke on her coffee, coughing a few times before laughing.
Then congratulations to us both for making the right decision.
She laughed, and I laughed too, opening the car door and stepping out. Olivia watched me as I got out, a cigarette smoldering in her hand.
Oh, Olivia. I forgot to mention, I guessed about the shares. Someone was selling shares, and I just asked around. I hope you don't mind. Also, I dislike people who smoke, so please don't smoke in front of me next time.
I leaned against the window, smiling at Olivia, and gestured towards the back seat, indicating for her to hand me the matcha cake we had picked up together. Olivia chuckled, reached back for the cake, and handed it to me. She glanced at my tie and casually remarked,
Michael, you really don't miss a beat. This tie is quite poor in taste. Tomorrow, I'll take you to get a new one. How about a red one? I noticed you seem to like red ties.
With the cake in hand, Olivia waved goodbye, leaving a trail of exhaust behind. A red tie? She says I don't miss a beat, but she's also hinting that she knows my past weaknesses.
Oh well, it's all in the past. Thanks to her, it seems it's time to clean out the company's parasites.
A month later, my relationship with Olivia improved as our collaboration progressed. During another ride home, Olivia glanced at my tie and spoke thoughtfully.
Still haven't changed your tie?
Do you have any idea how busy I've been as your partner? Where would I find the time to shop for clothes?
How about we go to the mall tomorrow? The rest of the tasks are routine. If your subordinates can't handle that, you really need to reshuffle your team.
Olivia tapped her fingers on the steering wheel, and I noticed for the first time that her hands were quite beautiful.
Mind your own business. Pick me up tomorrow.
Olivia took me to buy a tie. The sales assistant initially wanted to tease me but stopped when Olivia mentioned I was her business partner, and then earnestly introduced the ties. Whether she was pretending or not, Olivia had some experience in social circles, and her taste was quite good. After selecting a bunch, I felt a bit clueless. I handed them to Olivia, asking for her opinion.
What do you think?
Olivia took the ties and compared them against me, analyzing the combinations and unintentionally getting closer. I could clearly smell her perfume mingling with mine, creating a pleasant scent. I leaned closer to her shoulder to get a better whiff, planning to ask her about the brand later so I could buy some for home.
What are you two doing?
Hearing a voice suppressed with anger, Olivia and I looked up simultaneously. At that moment, Olivia was tying one of the ties for me, concentrating on making a knot. Oh, it was Emily and Benjamin. They happened to be here today as well. I raised an eyebrow, looking at Olivia with a hint of meaning.
I really didn't know they would be here today. How could I still have those thoughts now? I have to take good care of you. I wouldn't dare to upset you.
I don't care, but this situation is because of you. How about this? The watch I just bought, you can reimburse me as an apology. If the money is right, everything will be fine.
All right.
Emily walked over and pushed Olivia away from my side. Olivia sensibly let go and stepped back a few paces, looking up at Emily.
What are you two doing?
Are you blind? Can't you see we're tying a tie?
No one would be in a good mood when encountering someone unpleasant during a happy moment.
Daniel, I know you're angry, but you shouldn't degrade yourself by associating with her.
Emily looked a bit furious but was trying hard to suppress it, her clenched fists revealing her unsettled emotions.
Miss Emily, in what capacity are you trying to control me?
I turned around, staring into Emily's eyes. Emily clenched her fists, then relaxed them, speaking in a light yet hoarse voice.
You took care of me in the US for so long, and my mother likes you very much. You're my good brother.
Good brother, I lowered my head, rolling those words on my tongue, unable to help but chuckle. No one can dictate that I can't find a friend to shop for ties with. Don't you agree, Sophia?
I lowered my head, my eyes fixed on Emily, and suddenly laughed.
Sophia, your husband is over there. Why are you still here?
I nodded towards Benjamin, signaling Emily to look over. Emily's face stiffened for a moment.
Friendly. Yes. Emily, aren't you going to introduce me?
Benjamin walked over, wrapping his arm around Emily's, his actions intimate. I glanced at Olivia, but her eyes seemed devoid of the previous emotions. So cold-hearted. I sighed and shrugged.
Trying to sound casual, Daniel, my brother. When we were in the States, he was my neighbor.
Friendly, hello, Benjamin. Emily's boyfriend.
Cheerful. Hello, Daniel. Emily's brother. Unfortunately, I bought a lot of things and can't free my hands to shake yours.
Pretending to be helpless, no problem, you and Olivia take your time picking out ties. We'll go shopping first. See you next time.
Benjamin said, pulling Emily away. After they left the store, I turned to Olivia, looking thoughtful.
Serious, Benjamin has changed quite a bit.
Hopeful, rumor has it that Emily is expecting, and her family is already planning their wedding.
Serious, expecting already, huh? Jealous?
Relieved, I'm not good with kids, not thinking about it for now. How about that tie?
Cheerful, not bad, suits your style, but it goes well with light-colored suits, which you rarely wear. Want to get one tailored?
When Olivia dropped me off at home, I saw Emily waiting downstairs. Smoking, with cigarette butts scattered around. Olivia saw Emily too and asked.
Serious, need my help?
I was just unbuckling my seatbelt and paused, amused, turning to look at her. I looked from her hair to her eyes, nose, lips, and throat. I saw her swallow, couldn't help but laugh, and stared into her eyes.
Hopeful, in what capacity? As a friend?
One sentence seemed to awaken some terrifying beast, and Olivia fled, avoiding my gaze.
Serious, you should trust me.
I got out of the car, slamming the door shut. Emily dropped her cigarette, stomping it out with her foot, and walked towards me. With the light behind her, half of Emily's face was hidden in darkness, her eyes cold and her gaze particularly chilling.
Serious, Olivia brought you back?
Cheerful, is there a problem?
Serious, do you like her?
I laughed, taking a few steps towards Emily, smelling the smoke on her.
Coldly, in what capacity are you asking? As a sister? A friend? Or the girlfriend you promised to be in the States?
Emily's Adam's apple moved, then settled.
Serious, she's not a good person.
Angry, neither are you.
I waved my hand, stepping back to my original position. Emily fell silent. Looking at her quiet demeanor, I remembered the days in the States and suddenly found it meaningless. I adjusted my hair and asked,
Serious, are you going to apologize?
Emily's lips moved, but I never heard that apology. I received a birthday invitation from Grace. She sent it to me herself.
Thinking of that resilient woman I met in the States, and looking at the jade pendant I hadn't found time to deliver, I got ready, took the gift and the pendant, and went to the party.
A private conversation with Grace was something I hadn't anticipated.
Michael, why didn't you tell me you were coming to H country?
She warmly held my hand, dressed in traditional attire, her eyes shining with a light I had never seen before.
I didn't want to trouble you. Grace, you seem different now.
Thinking of the information I had found, I couldn't hold back and blurted it out.
This matter is our family's fault. Back then, James wouldn't relinquish power, and we had to ally with the Smith family to make her let her guard down in happiness. Besides, you were in the States, too far away. There were many things about Emily you couldn't take care of, and many things about you that Emily couldn't handle either. It was just going with the flow.
Going with the flow. People's hearts have changed, haven't they?
Emily knew nothing about this, it was all my doing. If you want to blame someone, blame me.
Grace looked at me, as if reminiscing about the days in the States, murmuring,
I should indeed blame you. And I won't forgive you. I've packed the jade pendant, it's with the gift. Forgive me for not learning the customs of each country, but I'll take my leave now.
I placed the gift on the table, turned to leave, and just before stepping out, I seemed to remember something and said,
By the way, going with the flow is a nice phrase. I hope no one ever says that to you.
I closed the door behind me, shutting out her question, What do you mean?
You know everything now?
She told me.
Is there no chance?
What do you think?
I asked her, looking into her eyes. There was a depth in her eyes that I couldn't understand. I doubted my own eyes, leaned in closer to look again, and indeed, it was depth. Saying that word made me feel disgusted. It was as if I had seen something filthy, and I quickly took a few steps back.
I'll be going now.
I walked briskly to the car, hearing her slow footsteps behind me. I opened the car door, and only then did I hear her say in a slightly hoarse voice,
I just returned to the country. I have nothing. You know, I have no other way.
Hearing this, I couldn't hold back my laughter any longer. I closed the car door, leaned against it, and tossed my hair back.
You might fool her with that, but not me. Going with the flow is a good phrase. I wonder who went with whose flow.
Emily's eyes widened suddenly, then slowly relaxed, returning to calm.
You figured it all out?
I didn't respond to that, opened the car door, and left with a final remark.
Whether it's going with the flow or genuine feelings, only you know.
Emily didn't bother me again after that night. Her wedding with Benjamin never took place. I heard he ran away on the wedding day, and the He family generously compensated Emily. That same year, the He family and the Liu family had a falling out for undisclosed reasons. I took the opportunity to snatch several lucrative contracts from Emily. Emily eventually seized control from Grace and James, becoming the undisputed leader of the Liu group. Grace cursed her at the company gate, calling her ruthless, and was escorted home by security. After that, Grace was rarely seen in public. Olivia brought me this news. 3 years had passed since I arrived in H country, and tonight was the celebration party for the successful completion of the project in the west of the city. I used the excuse of being drunk to slip out and clear my head in the yard. Olivia came up from behind and draped a coat over me.
The weather's getting colder, keep warm.
I thanked her and accepted the coat. Our collaboration had been smooth. Olivia became the largest shareholder of the Yi Group, and I secured my position overseas with 2 contracts. For the A City deal, Olivia eventually stepped back, taking only 4% of the profit. After that, she often used the pretext of collaboration to invite me out for meals and walks. I gradually realized something and started to reduce my contact with Olivia. She seemed to understand and gradually stopped approaching me. Tonight was the first time we had met in a month.
I heard you're going back to M Country tomorrow?
Your information is quite up to date. Amelia, a very capable female manager, will be taking over. Olivia responded with a hum and remained silent for a long time. I said nothing, waiting for her to speak.
Is there no chance?
It seemed like a random question, but I understood. No.
Is it because I was involved in the matter with Emily?
I said nothing, shaking my head as if to shake off the effects of the alcohol. Our issues have nothing to do with others. I pretended not to understand and asked back. You're too smart. I don't like dealing with smart people, it's too exhausting. You are, and so is Emily. I caught a glimpse of a corner of a coat by the flower pillar and then said to her, "Can we still stay in touch? Come to M Country, and I'll host you." I couldn't stand the inexplicable atmosphere, took off the coat, handed it back to her, and walked away. Olivia held the coat I handed over, standing there silently like a statue. As I walked down the road, I heard footsteps not too far behind. I suddenly stopped and said to the person behind me, "Isn't it tiring to follow me?" Emily quickened her pace and stood beside me. I glanced at her coat, walking step by step alongside her.
I didn't expect Benjamin to come back on my birthday. He and I had an agreement, we both just had goals that coincidentally aligned. I needed the he's support, and he needed a suitable partner.
I know, I've met him. I thought back to that day. It was before Grace's birthday when Benjamin asked to meet me at a cafe. When he saw me, he looked me up and down and said the first thing that came to his mind.
I thought the person she liked would look different. Not as good looking as me. Not what I expected.
I heard this and smiled.
You're not what I expected either.
I stirred my coffee, waiting for him to speak again.
Emily and I are not real. I have someone I like. I just had a change of heart, and didn't want you two to break up because of me.
I stopped stirring my coffee, smiled rarely, and said, looking up,
Just a change of heart? Your conscience must be quite dark. Aren't you here to show off, acting until you lost your heart?
Benjamin looked at me, seemingly surprised by my words, and suddenly laughed.
You're not what I expected either.
He paused and asked,
Do you still want her?
I heard this and started stirring my coffee again. After a long time, I said,
I don't want her anymore.
We were just a marriage of convenience.
I nodded slowly.
But you both had feelings, didn't you? Maybe not love, but you had feelings, right?
I stopped stirring my coffee and leaned back.
On her birthday, you knew about my news and deliberately intercepted it so she wouldn't know. Olivia sent you the address on purpose to provoke her, didn't she?
Benjamin looked uneasy but said nothing.
On her birthday, when she hugged your waist, it wasn't acting, and the kiss wasn't acting either. I've been with her for so many years. Some things can change, but the way a person loves can't be hidden. She liked you then. That's why she panicked and said I was just a brother. She didn't want you to overthink.
I paused and continued.
The day you picked out the tie, it was your arrangement, wasn't it?
Benjamin finally looked at me seriously again and then laughed.
She said you were a simple brother. Turns out she was wrong.
Benjamin pretended to leave, but as he walked past me, I grabbed his hand and asked.
No apology?
Benjamin stopped, sat back down.
Between power and you, she chose power.
I know.
And you still want me to apologize?
Shouldn't you? Grace couldn't gain power without your push, right? Spreading rumors, distracting James and Grace, putting Emily in the middle so you could take advantage, wasn't it because she looked like your first love? You wanted something so badly that your first love ended up in a coma after falling from a building, right?
I tapped the table, thinking of the information I found, feeling sorry for Benjamin's first love. Benjamin stared at me, suddenly laughed until tears came to his eyes, then slowly calmed down and said,
You're really something.
So, no apology?
What did I do wrong?
I see. I hope you keep smiling.
I let Benjamin walk out of the cafe. 6 months later, the Smith family's overseas department had tax issues, and I seized the opportunity to take over their overseas contracts. In the same month, Benjamin's first love disappeared from the hospital, nowhere to be found. Before Emily and Benjamin's wedding, I had someone leak false information about Benjamin's first love's whereabouts. But Emily suppressed it. On the wedding day, Benjamin coincidentally received the false news about his first love and ran away from the wedding. Due to the failed marriage between the Benjamin and Emily families, the Smith family compensated Emily's family significantly. I found out that Emily intentionally suppressed the news, waiting until the wedding day to reveal it to Benjamin, causing him to flee and benefiting herself more. The Benjamin family, feeling tricked, started causing trouble for Emily's family. Olivia and I took the opportunity to snatch several lucrative contracts from Emily. Reflecting on the memories, I looked at Emily.
I know you told me the news, and I didn't hold it against you.
I felt like I heard a big joke, widened my eyes, and said,
You didn't hold it against me because you couldn't afford to provoke another opponent. Don't make yourself sound so noble.
I paused and continued.
And you and Benjamin, no matter how much it was a contract, you had feelings, didn't you? Even if it was just a few months, you had feelings, right? Those 3 months, weren't you getting along well? Acting and acting, you ended up falling for him, didn't you? You chose to give him up because his help had run its course. Now you choose me because, after satisfying your power hunger, you miss what you gave up for it. Besides, my backing can help you expand your business to the US, right? 2 birds with 1 stone. Good strategy. I told you before, you can't fool me. Let's just go our separate ways.
When I closed the car door, Emily was still standing there, motionless. I drove away, leaving a trail of exhaust. I knew it was all over. I remember when Emily left for the US, she wore a black dress. There was a bit of red on the dress. The morning she left, the sunrise made it shine brightly. I remember it all. But I have to move forward.